So good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
We can do better than that. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
That's what I like to hear. My name is Randall McShepard, and I am the chairman and co-founder of Policy Bridge, which is a public policy think tank found in Cleveland in 2005, which means that we are proud to be celebrating our 20th anniversary this year. Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. I am proud to welcome all of you here today for this very important event, which will include a signing of a memorandum of understanding amongst many of our city and county's critical leaders, organizations, and institutions. After 2 years of meetings and joint research, all these partners have agreed to join forces and align resources around one critical area of focus: economic mobility. We believe that if we can collectively address and resolve this issue, its cascading impact will improve many of the other intersectional issues facing Cleveland and Cuyahoga County residents, including housing, education, entrepreneurship, and home ownership, just to name a few. Policy Bridge is serving as the backbone organization that is coordinating the partner meetings, helping to frame and manage the overall urban agenda framework, and organizing several of the working committees. The urban agenda will endeavor to address 3 critical goals that connect inextricably to economic mobility. Number 1, we want to reduce the poverty rate in Cleveland. We all know that Cleveland, I still believe, is number 1 in childhood poverty, and I believe number 2 in overall poverty behind Detroit. We have hovered in the top 3 or 4 far too long, but certainly over the last several years. Number 2, we want to increase median household income for Black and brown or Hispanic households. Just one example that was in the news over the last week: East Cleveland was just recognized as having the lowest median family income of any city in the nation with more than 5,000 residents. That's our county. That's why this is so critical. Number 3, we want to close the Black, Hispanic, white wealth gap. Based on a ton of research that we have conducted over recent months and years for that fact, we believe that Cuyahoga County is leaving $6.9 billion on the table as a result of ethnic, racial, and gender disparities. Ladies and gentlemen, as we like to say at Policy Bridge, this is not a moral lament, rather an economic imperative and a regional competitiveness mandate. We must continuously analyze what causes the most disenfranchised residents of our city and county to fall further behind in every financial category. Because it doesn't only hurt them, it hurts all of us. I will close with 2 important points that make this economic mobility initiative different. 1, it is a long-term proposition that we understand will take many years to achieve, and it will include an annual community scorecard to track our collective results. Secondly, we have an amazing array of partners, as you can see to my left and my right, who share a strong interest in this work and see the value of unprecedented collaboration. We need each other, and we must be willing to hold each other accountable. So, with that said, I want to thank all of you again for being here today, and it gives me great pleasure to now welcome our first speaker, who is also serving as our host of today's event, CEO of the Greater Cleveland Partnership, Mr. Baiju Shaw. Baiju?
Thank you, Randy. Thank you, Greg, for catalyzing this activity that's been over 2 years in the making to bring us all together. And I want to welcome everyone to the Greater Cleveland Partnership. It's our honor, really, to host today's event. If you know anything about the Greater Cleveland Partnership and anything about us, you know that we use 2 words again and again and again, and the words are all in. Right? All in, it describes our vision, it describes our values, it describes our mindset. And today, with all of our partners around the table, it's a tangible demonstration of what all in means, because we know That's what it takes to achieve transformative outcomes. What Randy talked about in terms of the metrics we need to move for our city and our county and our region, it's going to require all of us. All In is also the name of our plan for our region and our vision for making our region, once again, one of the great regions on the Great Lakes. And if you know the plan, it's got 4 priorities, all interlocking, all equally important. Dynamic businesses, abundant talent, inclusive opportunity, and an appealing community. Each one of those is vital to the plan's success. And the urban agenda is aligned directly with inclusive opportunity. Now I think about our region, I think about our county. Right now, in the metro area, we have 3% unemployment. 3%. Right? We need everyone in this region participating at the fullest levels possible for their potential to continue to drive the growth of our county and our region. Not just as team members, but also as business owners to support wealth creation, both of which drive the economic mobility that Randy talked about. So I want to talk just briefly about the work that we are planning to do and continue to do as we expand that type of business opportunity through our work. It starts with supporting entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs through our work on the built environment, work that we've launched through the city's support, with also the foundation and many partners and emerging developers, advising small businesses on how to scale, advising large businesses on how to connect to small businesses, and most importantly, connecting the two so that there's opportunities. And we see that throughout our community already, whether it's in large-scale projects. I see Paul Dolan here, my chairman. We've renovation of Progressive Field that's underway, and there's been incredible opportunities for businesses to grow because of that project. Certainly with the folks at Case Western, I saw Julian here with a groundbreaking project of not just a research building, but a partnership, a joint venture that really brings minority firms in partnership with majority firms as the project developers, but also throughout our work with the city and the foundations on lead remediation. It's about helping these entrepreneurs scale their businesses so that they are able to drive job creation, drive wealth creation. And it's also the work we do through our Minority Business Development Agency and its new mergers, acquisitions, and partnerships labs, where we're helping Cleveland business leaders, minority business leaders, help them purchase businesses in the region and throughout the country to help them scale their growth. But the work is beyond just helping businesses connect and scale. It's also our work in neighborhoods. Over the last 3 years, we've invested over $100 million in projects throughout the city of Cleveland. These are catalytic investments in places that you're familiar with, like La Centrovia, like 89th Rising in Fairfax and the Hawthorne School redevelopment, all of which we've done with the partners that are to my left and to my right. And we intend to continue that work on the real estate side. And then finally, certainly in the areas of talent. Again, working with the partners around this table and all of our corporate community to launch efforts like Greater Cleveland Career Consortium so that we are able to help students as they are going through their middle school and high school years get broader exposure to the wealth of opportunities that are out there for their potential. All of this gets amplified through our work with our partners and our work with our partners in pushing policy at multiple levels of government. And these are just a few examples of how we are all in, not just in our words, but also in our work, and how the urban agenda to drive economic mobility for our community and our region fits in with our all-in plan for a great region on a great lake. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Baiju. Next up, our very own County Executive Chris Ronayne. I do want to give him a shout out because he has attended many meetings, rolls his sleeves up, a major thought partner with us. We know he cares about this, and he made the time to be with us as well. So, Chris Ronayne, thank you.
Thank you, Randy, and thank you, Greg, for your 20 years of service to what matters in this community. I want to say to my colleagues around the table, thank you for the work you do in your organizations as leaders. Also to our staff teams, thanks for the work that you're doing, and our board for supporting us today as we endeavor together on the Urban Agenda 2025. And this will go well beyond. This is, as we know, years long, decades long, but we need to move with intentional speed to move those numbers quickly down to where we want them to be. But as we all know, the work we're talking about is going to be work ahead that's going to take us time together, to move the needle, but we have to have some level of impatience, right? So I guess I'm saying in two ways. One, let's stick together, and two, let's make change happen now. It's my honor to be here today representing Cuyahoga County as your county executive, and with my colleagues here. I want to acknowledge that today is a pivotal moment at a most pivotal time in our nation, but it's a pivotal moment for Cleveland, for Cuyahoga County and Northeast Ohio as a region. We're here today to, as you know, sign the Urban Agenda project, and Cuyahoga County proudly signs on, because too many of our residents are working hard but not getting ahead. We hear that all too often in our community. I'm working hard, but my two ends aren't meeting to get to what my family needs. For centuries, families have faced systemic barriers that limit economic growth in our nation and certainly here in Greater Cleveland. Today, we're here to dismantle those structures that have kept people down and out for too long. We know that when every family, and no matter their zip code, has a chance to succeed, our entire region rises. The Urban Agenda project will ensure opportunities exist for every resident in every neighborhood. We want to build a stronger and more inclusive economy that benefits all of us. You're going to hear that theme over and over. All in, all of us. It has to be inclusive growth for all. To do that, Cuyahoga County is committed to job creation, home ownership, financial empowerment, and many more things. This is how we'll achieve what I've phrased the healthy Cuyahoga. We will be healthy when we're economically healthy, and our families and our individuals in our community truly have equal opportunity at economic mobility. The Urban Agenda project isn't just another plan. It's the dedication to the people you see in front of you and the people I see in front of me. It's got to be all of us. Today is a historic step forward as we sign on together with an action-oriented plan that is rooted in accountability. We stand ready to do the work and make sure the Urban Agenda delivers on its promise. I look a lot at city and county indicators, both here in our metro region and around the country, and how we compare. I think the Policy Bridge is spot on with its three focus areas of reducing poverty, increasing median household income, particularly in Black and brown communities, and closing that wealth gap among the races. I want to remind everybody that as you read statistics in the Urban Agenda plan, every number, behind every number is a person. Behind every number is a family. Behind every number is an address in our community and persons who represent those numbers. So these are not just numbers. These are people with names and faces we know. These are our brothers and sisters in our community. So lest we forget in the aggregate of numbers, everybody is a person behind that number. Thank you to everyone who's contributed to this effort, and together we'll shape a future where economic opportunity is not just a privilege for some, but a reality for all. Thanks again.
Thank you, Mr. Executive. Next up, I must give a special shout out to Cuyahoga County Council President Dale Miller. Over the last couple of years, his predecessor has been very active in these meetings, and we're proud that Dale is now president of County Council. But to his credit, he quickly gathered information about this, got fired up about it, and said, we need this in the county. I'm excited to be a part of this, and he's here with us today. So please share some comments.
Thank you very much, everybody, and I and the County Council strongly support the Urban Agenda. We're happy to be part of the team and participate in moving our county forward. Economic success is not best measured by the total economic product. It's best measured by, are we enabling more people to be economically successful? To make progress on this, it requires a collective impact model where we work with government, we work with the foundations, the universities, education, healthcare, the faith-based community, and a lot of other partners, and that's the key to our success. And I know from my life experience that progress is not made by quick and flashy actions. It's made by sustained effort over time, where you make some progress every day, and then 3 or 5 years later you can look back and say we've come a long way. We have so many resources in our community, with the Great Lakes, a good healthcare system, and sports and culture and entertainment, and so many things, and we have the resources to help bring people out of poverty and enable everyone to succeed in making our community the best that it can be. So I and the council look forward to working with you in every way possible to make this project truly successful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, President Miller. Speaking of presidents, we have another president in the room, the president of Cleveland City Council, Blaine Griffin, who has also made the time on multiple occasions to come to meetings. Blaine has also been kind enough to make those personal phone calls to offer advice and counsel on how we move this initiative forward. So thankful for his leadership and support and his presence here today. So President Blaine Griffin.
Good morning. Good morning. Come on, you all could do better than that. It's a great sunny day in the city of Cleveland. Good morning. Good morning. First of all, I'd like to thank my good friend Randall McShepard for convening us all here today. And let's give Policy Bridge another round of applause. I try to be a smart council president, and a smart council president always must acknowledge his colleagues when they are here, and that is my colleague Stephanie House Jones, and let's please acknowledge her. Councilwoman House Jones is humble, but she actually is one of the people before she became a council person that really put together the efforts to bring Policy Bridge and other stakeholders together to look at this. And I'm really excited about this Policy Bridge urban agenda because it gives us an opportunity to tell our story. I once read that what gets measured gets done. Once again, what gets measured gets done. Cleveland City Council has legislated and funded many initiatives to lift people out of poverty. Many people think we deal with bricks and sticks, but at the most core of our mission is people of the city of Cleveland. We've done things like the Community Benefit Ordinance. And let me say this, even though I know DEI is under attack, this is not just about DEI. This is about making sure that the residents and the stakeholders of the city of Cleveland get a great return on their investment every time we pass legislation. We passed paid parental leave, once again, thanks to some of the leadership of Councilwoman Stephanie House Jones. We increased the living wage, and we declared racism as a public health crisis with the help of my sister, Mrs. Marsha Mockabee, and the Urban League, which deals with trying to eradicate disparities in 5 different areas: housing and infrastructure, health disparities, education, criminal justice, and yes, ladies and gentlemen, wealth creation and jobs. Not just jobs and not just employment, but wealth creation, home ownership, trying to make sure that we have generational wealth that can be passed down. We have passed millions in tax incentives to attract private sector investment into areas where the market sometimes will not go. Government cannot do this alone. That's why I'm proud to see this collaborative leadership model between all of the sectors of our community come together. Milwaukee and other communities have measured their success at the county level to see if all of the legislation and all of the actions that they're doing are truly lifting people out of poverty. Most of all, this is a great way for the many systems that we have to talk to each other, the public, private, philanthropic systems, to be able to communicate with each other and break down barriers so that families aren't overwhelmed with talking to multiple systems and not getting the results that they need. We all know that data means dollars, which is why this is also so important. I'll close by saying this. Ladies and gentlemen, I love this city, and you love this city too. But in the famous words of a famous comedian, romance without finance is a nuisance. So we need to make sure that we have wealth and that we have dollars flowing in our community to the people that need them the most. I know this collaborative leadership model will work if we all commit to this. So let's take this moment to tell Cleveland's story of success and lift people out of poverty through this urban agenda. Thank you all, and I look forward to working with you.
Okay, next, our mayor is traveling today, but was nice enough to send to us a video. So at this time, we would like to play that.
Closing the racial wealth gap, breaking the cycle of poverty for Black and brown families, and increasing economic mobility for historically marginalized residents are essential to a thriving Cleveland and a thriving region. For far too long, disparities have divided our communities, and as mayor, it's my job to ensure that every resident, regardless of their race, income, neighborhood, or history, has access to the resources they deserve, including affordable housing, quality public education, and family-sustaining jobs, as well as the tools they need to build financial security and generational wealth. Equitable access to wealth-building opportunities is not just a matter of justice. It is a strategic imperative for cities to achieve long-term economic vitality, inclusivity, and resilience. Our collective success relies on the participation and prosperity of all greater Clevelanders. Now, we know that we can not tackle these deeply rooted issues alone. It takes all of us committing to a shared approach, increasing income and wealth, and reducing poverty with a focus on dismantling the structural and institutional racism responsible for these deep divides. The City of Cleveland is proud to be a part of the Urban Agenda Collective Impact Project. And as we sign on to this MOU today, we stand ready to continue this important collaboration, joining with all of you to build a more stable, healthy, and resilient region. Let's keep pushing for change and progress together.
Thank you, Mayor Bibb, and I know he has at least one representative here, Tyson Mitchell. Thank you. Council President Griffin said something about romance without finance. I think that's a great way to introduce the president and CEO of the Cleveland Foundation, Miss Lillian Curry.
I don't know how to start with that, but here goes. Good morning, everyone. Lillian Curry, President and CEO of the Cleveland Foundation. And before I start, I want to recognize my Menti team members and board members in the room. And I'm going to ask them to stand for a very particular reading. Hold on, don't stand up yet. Because what I want to tell you today is that the Cleveland Foundation is all in. And we're all in with our people, our resources, and we are going to bring it to bear to this initiative. Many of you have heard me say this before I get into my remarks, but I do not believe this is a resource problem. We have the resources, and we have them in the room. This has been an alignment and a collaboration problem. And so with that, I'm going to ask everybody from the Cleveland Foundation who's giving their time to this, is committed to this, to stand up. And Helen, I see you in the back. I see Emily. I see Kate. We are all in, and our team and our board is committed to be part of this initiative. So thank you. So I wanted to focus on why I believe this is a truly remarkable moment. And there are 3 reasons. Number 1, there is no silver bullet. Number 2, this is the only way. And number 3, this is not an either or. The only way to tackle these complex, consequential challenges is hard, sustained, long-term work together with these partners. This is the only way. There is no silver bullet. This will be hard work. If it was easy, it would be done by now. That's why this partnership and this collective is so important. Our resources at this table aligned. What you see before you is unparalleled. And this partnership is one that will make what seems impossible today not only possible, but it will, by the step-by-step, long period of working together and being aligned together. This is one of resources, people, and policies. And we are together aligned for this reason. Lastly, I do not believe this is an either-or. At the Cleveland Foundation, we believe that we can and must have a vibrant Northeast Ohio where no Clevelander is left behind. We need to grow this region, one with industry growth and job growth. And we need to connect people to prosperity. This is our collective job. This is actually only what we can do together. And it is in this aligned, connected way that we will be able to do it. So I want to thank Randy and Greg and Policy Bridge and the whole team that I know is here working behind the scenes for their bold vision and the persistence that got us here to the table today. This is the kind of collaboration that can change the game for our community. And the Cleveland Foundation is proud and stands ready to bring all we have to bear together. Thank you.
Thank you, Lillian. Well done. Since you did reference those people behind the scenes at Policy Bridge, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask them to stand and be recognized because they've worked very hard. Please, anyone from the Policy Bridge team, staff, consultants, stand up, wave your hands. They're an amazing team. They never sleep. They are as brilliant as they come, and they love the city and the county. So what more can you ask for? Next up, I'd like to ask the President and CEO of United Way of Greater Cleveland, Sharon Sobel-Jordan, to join us. Sharon is also a Policy Bridge board member for many, many, many years, and I'm sure she'll reference this, but United Way has been thinking about economic mobility for many years, like we have. So please tell us more, but ladies and gentlemen, Sharon Sobel-Jordan.
Thank you, Randy. I appreciate that. Good morning, everyone. United Way is proud to be a partner in this groundbreaking urban agenda because we recognize that isolated programs alone are not enough to address Cleveland's deepest challenges. At our United Way, economic mobility drives everything we do. We are in the front lines of economic struggle every single day, particularly with United Way 211. Last year alone, we responded to 198,000 requests for assistance. These are calls from Greater Cleveland families living in every zip code in our county. But 211 isn't just a phone number to call. It really serves as a real-time interactive map of our community's economic challenges. When a single mom calls us to get connected to job training, or a worker calls us to get help to move from unemployment to their next work opportunity, we don't just provide a temporary fix. We are gathering critical data directly from Greater Clevelanders that reveal exactly where our economic systems are falling short of their potential. What makes us unique is our ability to bridge gaps for real people in the moment and to use what we learn from them to break down systemic barriers that are standing in their way. So the urban agenda provides us a new and important way to turn those individual connections into systemic change for Greater Cleveland families, businesses, and communities. By signing this MOU today, we are bringing our network of community connections, our understanding of what works and where the gaps are, and our commitment to collective impact. For us, this isn't just another partnership or initiative to join. We're in this to help fundamentally redesign how Greater Cleveland creates economic opportunity for everyone, particularly those that have been excluded for too long. The data is clear. We've been among the nation's poorest cities for decades. Incremental change is not working. We need bold, coordinated, and accountable action across sectors, and that's exactly what this urban agenda represents. It's our shared platform to reshape economic opportunity, and it's our shared promise to the economic future of Greater Cleveland. A future where every family can have real opportunity to build economic security and have real hope for their future. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sharon. I've already talked about finance, but I will say that we have another critical funder in the room, and Tony Richardson, who's the president of the George Gunn Foundation. And I can tell you, I spent 7 years on that board before he came. And when he did come to Cleveland, obviously I wanted to meet him, and we sat down, and we've met many times, and every time we meet, this is the topic that is top of mind for him. So I am very excited that he believes in this, and the Gunn Foundation stands with him in supporting this effort. So with that, please welcome Tony Richardson, president of the Gunn Foundation.
Good morning. Good morning. I want to thank Greg and Randy, all the partners here for bringing us together and making this possible. My name is Tony Richardson, president of the George Gunn Foundation. And at the foundation, our grant making has three overarching pillars: democracy building, racial justice and equity, and we think a lot about climate justice. And in that context, economic mobility is very important at this moment as we move toward a green, clean energy economy. And it is important that Black and brown families are not left behind during what some is calling the biggest transfer of wealth in the history of the globe. And so as I look around the room, the table, I see a myriad of leaders from various organizations, and it's clear to me that our individual day-to-day work is contingent upon the success of each other's work, right? And it's through that shared work that I think about community, organizations, sectors, and it's clear that no sector, community, organization, leader, or partner is an island, right? We can't do this work alone. And so it also brings me to this West African proverb and axiom that many of you have heard, right? If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. But going together, there's a prerequisite in terms of the ingredients that are needed for groups or teams to go far. And there's a prerequisite tied to having a shared understanding of the issues right at the outset, shared vision and goals, along with a shared long-term commitment, as my colleague Lillian Curry mentioned earlier. And so this Urban Agenda Collective represents that very framing, right, of going together, going further. And we at the George Gunn Foundation look to continue to work in collaboration and partnership with all the partners as we endeavor to ensure that all Clevelanders and folks throughout Northeast Ohio have better life prospects and better life outcomes. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. Before we begin to transition to the actual signing, I would definitely be remiss if I didn't acknowledge 4 individuals who, representing their institutions, have been stalwart supporters of this effort, who's made every meeting, who's asked all the tough questions, who's gotten their leaders to show up. I could go on and on and on. But Molly Schmoke from Cleveland State University, Ken Surratt from United Way, Fred Collier from GCP, and Sabrina Roberts from Cuyahoga County. This would not be possible without the 4 of you. Thanks for your ongoing support and hard work every day on behalf of you. So I want to thank all of our illustrious leaders for their comments. Obviously, I could have asked everyone up here to speak, and they would have been equally eloquent, but time is somewhat limited. But I do want to acknowledge that in addition to those that you heard comments from, we also have with us here at the table who will be joining us in signing the MOUs, Marcia Maccabee, the president of the Urban League of Greater Cleveland, president and CEO, of the Urban League of Greater Cleveland, Dr. Michael Baston, president of Cuyahoga Community College. We have Tanya Maness, president of Cleveland Neighborhood Progress. We have Dr. Jill Gordon, the dean of the Levin College of Urban Affairs and Education at Cleveland State University. And we have Stephanie House, who we're referring to today as a special advisor, because as you heard from Blaine Griffin, she, going back to 2019, is the one individual that sat down with Greg and I and started dreaming what could this urban agenda look like. And as a state representative, she would come back and forth from Columbus to say, let's huddle, let's talk about this, and look at how far we've come. So thank you, Stephanie, for your leadership. Yes. And last but not least, my partner in crime, who also doesn't sleep and has been working so hard to see this project through, Gregory Brown, Executive Director of Policy Grants. Please note that we already have signed MOUs from Mayor Justin Bibb and Dr. Eric Kaler, president of Case Western Reserve University, both of whom could not be here today. So if there was a drum around, I would do a drum roll, but I would say I would like to ask the partners to please stand. All rise. And for those of you with cameras in the room, you might want to get ready for this, but you have a wonderful Urban Agenda 2025 pin. And just as a side note, if you click it twice, the light comes on. So this should be a reminder of the beacon of light that we should all serve as we lead this effort of the Urban Agenda. So I'm going to ask, hopefully you all have your pages open to where your signature line is. I'm going to say 3, 2, 1. Please sign the Memorandum of Understanding. All right. Let's give them a round of applause. Outstanding. Outstanding. So you can take your seats, and we will now spend a few minutes entertaining any questions from local media. I will stress that those questions aren't just coming to Randy McShepard. Anyone that's a partner in this effort should feel free to answer questions. I think there's mics in front of you, and if they press the button to the right, Beju, they will be heard throughout the room. So might there be any questions from any local media or other groups in the room? Oh, yes, please.
CaitlinDurbanFood.com. So you talked a lot about this partnership, and a lot of people will be like, well, haven't we always been working together? There's supposed to be, you talk about action in this group, but you didn't talk about specifics of what those actions look like. So can you give me an example of how this partnership is going to work to strengthen what organizations are already doing?
Anyone want to? Before I? Okay, well, I would say in terms of specific actions, we are looking at specific initiatives that we are all responsible for, that we can, instead of working on those initiatives alone, begin to look at how we can work on those initiatives together. So let's take one issue of workforce preparedness. The city has programs. The county has programs. We have one of the best community colleges in the country that has programs. Urban League, United Way, you heard 211. The foundations fund those kinds of initiatives. The difference in this approach is that everyone has been doing that work in silos. So we're saying, what if we were to come together and to say, what are you seeing? What are we seeing? What resources do you have? What do we have? How might we better align those resources to ensure that this time around it's a much more thoughtful, comprehensive approach, collective approach that helps us to move the needle? Because as a person that's done this work in many capacities for over 30 years, I can tell you, I always would say leadership is lonely. When I was chairing the Workforce Investment Board, I didn't have a group like this that was saying, Randy, we like your idea and we want to support it. I kind of felt like I was on an island. And many of us have felt for too many years that we're sort of doing good work, but not really able to hit all the high marks, if you will, because we didn't have the luxury of our friends and colleagues with additional resources able to sort of make the circle whole. So I think that's one example. We want to drill down on many of those categories. We referenced, many of us referenced things like entrepreneurship, home ownership, education. We can follow the same track with all of those. Sure, we're doing things in those areas, but we've never really talked as a collective to say, you can get us this far, but with this organization's help, we get 3 more steps out of this, and that organization gets us another foot forward, so on and so forth. So hopefully that helps.
Mr. McShepard, can I?
Please, please.
Thank you, sir. One of the things that I mentioned is that a lot of times people, all of us are in the business of helping people, okay? But a lot of times, if you imagine a young Blaine who grew up in a single-parent household, their parents and their families are dealing with multiple systems. And nobody is truly understanding the impact of all these multiple programs. They may be at their local church, they probably attend their local school, they probably go to their local recreation center, they may be involved with children and family services, They are involved with several different workforce programs, and none of these systems are talking to each other. So how are we able to tell if all of these programs and these investments that we're making in a young Blaine actually contributing to his success and his family's success? So what I'm excited about is that this gives us an opportunity to measure collectively how we're doing as a community with people like me who grew up and had multiple systems that we had to deal with, and families had to learn multiple different systems without feeling like they're overburdened, and if we're really doing what we're saying we're doing. So that's why I'm excited about Mr. McShepard pulling this together, and I'm also excited that it's not just embedded in government, because if so happen I hit the lottery and I will not be here, the work will continue. The work will continue because it will still be intertwined between this collaborative leadership model.
County Executive wanted to respond to that.
Thank you for the question, Caitlin et al. And Caitlin, you've covered a few parts of Cuyahoga County's initiatives, but I think the operatives today are twofold. One, this issue of alignment, completely agree with that we've got to be aligned together on the focus, and that's the second part of this, of really disparity reduction. You know, and when you look at your three initiatives, it's ultimately about disparity reduction. We know where the disparities are geographically in our communities. We know much about why the disparities exist, but it is about doing things. At the county, just a few things. We are trying to build on these partnership ideas. We have something as a starting point. I think at the county, we try to create at base level foundational support for families in need. So being out there at a very base level with benefits assistance, we created something called the Benefits Access Partnership. People don't know what they're eligible for necessarily in Cuyahoga County when it comes to basic income support. And we've had through the years support from federal government and state government to help make that happen. But part of this is about communicating where people are eligible. We opened a new welcome center February 14th last year, and we've had upwards of 3,000 persons come through the door, many that just need foundational basic support to get started. We also, on the other end of the spectrum, opened an Office of Small Business, which is intended specifically to create better access to capital, particularly in Black and brown communities that we were talking about today. We've had over 800 visits to our small business office that we opened. And of course, we'll be in partnership with the Greater Cleveland Partnership on initiatives like that. We also work with partners like Tri-C. Be remiss if I didn't mention, our ongoing work with Dr. Bastian and his team. We are focused, as you know, because you've been covering it, on a better justice system, and a better justice system that when re-entrants to our community, returning citizens come back into our community, particularly from a place like a county jail, are we actually equipping persons with tools about how they can matriculate quickly and come out better than they came in? So we've had recent conversations, without getting ahead of ourselves, on certification programs and training programs, even within the context of a short stay in a county jail. So all of those things add up. Do I, as a family, have basic access to basic benefits to get my feet on the ground for my family? Do I have basic training to help me matriculate? We are all working with Greater Cleveland Works, the new now merged Workforce Investment Board that is now a nonprofit Workforce Investment Board, to understand what are the trades that really literally are job needs. As has often been said, I think, Beju, you've referenced it a few times, it's not as if we necessarily have a job problem. We have a people problem, and that isn't a problem that we pin on people, but we need people in those jobs. So focusing on core areas, behavioral health care, life sciences, technology, building trades. We were working with Cleveland Builds as an example. So this alignment that Lillian referred to is really what it's all about. I think the wonders of having this group around the table is we all have an opportunity to do something about this together. I referenced a few things that Cuyahoga County is doing. I would say to the state of Ohio and the legislators, basic housing support is needed badly in this community. The work that we've seen some legislators work on homestead exemptions, we need to see that through to an actual act of the state of Ohio, such that particularly seniors and families who are priced out of housing can get relief and support. But I think at the base, we're talking about the alignment of workforce training, stabilization, matriculation, and persons ultimately that seek us in our small business office, employing others. But it's a trajectory that starts with, am I stable as a family, and can I, in time, contribute back to the community as an employer as well? Thank you.
I think you had a question, please.
Marcus, Randy, there's a lot of great things there. There's a lot of great conversation about disparity and
Yes. The short answer is yes. We have lots of benchmarks. And the idea, as I referenced earlier, what makes this different is that we believe that a community scorecard will make this effort different than anything else that we've done. So we have a framework already for a pretty extensive community scorecard. Every year, we want to have an annual event where we actually put the scorecard up. Can we reserve the room?
Got it.
Yeah, there will be some public event that will actually look back at how do we fare. We, on the site, the website that we'll build for this, we'll also have markers to sort of say we're failing in this area, we're on target with this area, we're exceeding goals in this area, but then we'll have a public meeting to talk in detail about what's working, what's not, the overall health of the partnerships with all of us around the table. We believe, as you heard, what gets measured does get done. And for many of these efforts, we kind of have a great press conference and we wave goodbye, and then you never see anyone again. So it's a fair question. Can we come back around and hear how this all turns out? And that is a major part of our plan.